What is happening, gang? All right, I had an idea and I wanted to make a video while I execute this idea to show you just some of the power of PageMotor and also to make a couple points that I think are very interesting, okay? So what I want to do is, we're looking at the homepage on my PageMotor test site here. And it's got some bleeds, some interesting stuff in the content. I made all this stuff in the content editor. And this guy right here, boom. I made all this stuff in the content editor. But I don't love this homepage. I don't love this because we've got the headline and a byline here that's not really appropriate for a homepage. And it's just not what I think about when I think about a homepage. So let's look at something that is a little more suitable. Even this one's not amazing, but here on this one on DIYthemes.com, we've got a navigation bar at the top, and then we got like a big section. There's a headline inside that section, and there's stuff there. And then we get to another part of the website, another section. We've got some stuff in here. That looks more like a homepage to me. So basically the thing that we're going to do here, the thing that I don't like with the PageMotor one is the headline and the byline. Like that makes sense for an article page, something like this, but it doesn't make sense on the homepage. And I can't believe I'm sitting here telling you this, but you know, I just, if you work with WordPress forever, and especially I've made WordPress themes forever, you get locked into certain modalities and it's kind of hard to get out of them. And one of them is like, you know, your templates, your base templates. I'll pop into one in just a second. Your base templates have, you know, a headline area before the content. And part of the reason, like the long-standing reason for this, is that when technical SEO was more important, when Google was very much a stickler for this kind of thing, if you nailed every single detail for technical SEO, like including a headline inside the actual article portion of the page, then you would get an extra bump in the search engines and get more clicks and more business or more whatever. So if you include, and there's certain things in the byline like schema, metadata, stuff like that was nice to include in pages and could give you a boost back in the day. It doesn't really matter anymore though. It doesn't really give you a boost anymore. So it's really not worth, like killing yourself over and saying, oh, it has to be like this. We can't do it any other way. Okay, so that is one reason, along with the way that WordPress themes and templates have generally worked. Like it's an example of getting locked into a certain modality. And I was sitting here thinking about this page, and I was thinking, you know what, doggone it, I want to make a video with a page where there's a bleed at the top. Like the first thing you see on the homepage is a bleed. So this yellow section will be the top. Or we might rework it a little bit, but something like that. So yellow section at the top and not this white thing, and certainly not like the headline there. You know, a lot of times people imagine like a hero image is the first thing, or a big section, hero section, something like that. So we're going to make that real quick, and I'll make this to showcase the power of this PageMotor editor and all the stuff and how everything works. So let's kick it off. Let's do this. Let's fix this old modality and make a more exciting homepage. All right, here we go. So what we're going to do, I'm going to dive in here to the template editor. We are editing the home template. I'm going to get rid of this headline area. And this includes some other information. It's got the title, the author, the date, and a lead, which we are not actually using in the whole platform right now. I'm just going to nuke this. I mean, technically I should take these out, but it doesn't matter. We'll just nuke it. And then we'll save it. So now the first thing that shows, this is an optional thing. It's not being used. So it doesn't show up in the markup. And so now the first thing that shows up is the content, okay? Boom. So there we go. We've edited the template. Now we're going to go back here. We're going to go to the content. Whoops. We're going to go to the home. We're going to go here, and we're going to get rid of this thing at the top. So bleed is now the first thing. So somehow I got rid of that. Let's see if we can forward delete this out of here. There we go. Okay, so now bleed is the first thing that appears in here. Let's, make this our new title. And let's make it an H1. We want to make it super huge. Oh, looks like the H1 is not currently configured to go spill outside the boundaries of the content column. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's see what we did here. It doesn't do it in the editor, but it does do it here. All right. let's see exactly what the markup is doing. So we've got our content column, we've got our page container, we've got the page content. And the bleed's the first thing. Does it have a top margin? It should. All right, so let's just go ahead and, so I was expected this. So I was expecting that the bleed would not be flush with the top of the nav menu here. So we're the bottom of the nav menu. I thought it would not be flush because I did not configure the theme in PageMotor to do that yet, but I'm going to, I think, because I had this idea that I wanted you to be able to make home pages with a bar of color right there at the top. So you could have like a colorful section. So you could have sections going all the way down the page, boom, 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 to make something like you would make in a page builder. So I will build that in, but I'm going to go ahead and just use the tools in PageMotor right now to make this happen to illustrate how this thing can work. So we're going to jump into the custom CSS editor. And we'll just do something like this. Let's see what the markup is real quick. Make sure we can get it exactly. So we want, if there's a bleed first thing in the content, we're going to snug this guy up to the top. Let's see. Let's see if we can make that happen. Because right now the content column has, or this content section has some top padding associated with it. It's got 1 unit of white space of top padding, which amounts to 31 pixels given the current design settings. All right, so we'll say, one more check. So we'll say if it's content, and then so the way it's currently done is content, and then and this is SCSS that I'm writing. And so if the page container has a first child, this will just work like this. So if the first thing inside the page container is a bleed, and no, it's not. It's like this. Yeah, this will work. So if a direct descendant is bleed as a first child, then we'll say margin top minus x2. Let's just try that. This is a little bit strained. But again, the theme will already contain this tortured code, so you'd never have to do this. But I'm just showing I can use the tools here to maybe make this happen. All right, it did not work. Let's see why. It probably didn't target it correctly. Yeah, so that did not get targeted. Content. Page container. And then, page content is the problem. Yeah, that's a lot of layers there. I don't love it. I'll figure out some way to make that cleaner and better. Let's see if it works now. There we go. And we have to kill the border too. Did that work? Yeah. All right. There it is. There it is. Now it's snug up on there. All right. So it does work. It does work. That's pretty cool. So that's probably what I'll do. I'm probably going to kill the headline and byline on the home template. It doesn't make sense anyway. And that way you can just use the editor and put an H1, a heading 1 in the editor. Whoops, my bad, guys. Put a heading 1 in the editor and do it, you just do it right here. You just do it right here. You don't need to have like a separate title and then like imagine how that output is going to be eventually, like you have to do on a page where you've got We've got something like this. We've got the title up here, and then you start the content here, and then you kind of have to imagine that those two things come together to be the title up here with a byline with all the other data here you can't see, such as the date of publication. And then, and then now my content starts there. Obviously, that is not as intuitive to design a page if you have to imagine some section at the top, and then you also don't have the control, like I said, where you can just put a bleed straight out of the gate, like we did here. So in this case, with this home bit of content, I really did design the page. Now, this editor doesn't faithfully show that the H1 will bust out of the content column. I got to fix that. No big deal. But I was able to design this page from inside the editor. Pretty slick. So I like that. I just thought about this. It does work. I thought I would share it with you guys. I think that's pretty cool. It's another reason that Page Builder is kind of not necessary. We think they are, but things haven't been built to just do the outcomes we want. And it is possible from within an editor. It is possible with PageMotor. So there it is. We've got a much more homepagey homepage. And we did it inside the editor, and we just used the tools that are here. Pretty sick. All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next video.